Oh, can I add one more point?
Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe you could add this in. This was important. This is something I forgot and we had mentioned, right? So another thing about Jungle Boy, right? Say if this is him, right? There's got to be some sort of correlation to that promo that we just saw on Dynamite between Omega and Jericho and everybody's favorite tag team. I say that very sarcastically. The Young Bucks, right? You had at one point where the Bucks were droning on about friendship, which is, I swear to God, if you took the term friend out of AEW, you would have zero storylines, okay? It's all about friendship. That's how one-dimensional they are at this point. So you have them discussing this. Kenny told the Bucks they were children. Well, he is basically quoting the moment where Punk just lost it at the media scrum, right?
I work with children.
I work with children, and then he needed to tell them that
work with fucking children. I think it was work with fucking children was the exact,
which is a beautiful quote at this point.
And then Matt said, "Oh, he's heard that, right? He's heard that before, right?" Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, so again, they're making another CM Punk reference himself. And if this was a situation where they're able to go bring back their little buddy, Jungle Jerkoff, and make him the devil and empower him, oh, thank you, Tony Khan. You just, again, extended their little snipes, their little pettiness, and made it part of a storyline with MJF, who has been nothing but the engine that has pushed this company for like the last probably 8 months to a year, if anything.
And he's getting a little oversaturated too, by the way.
And I actually agree with that.
They are relying on him way too much. So I totally agree with that oversaturated mark. And I say that I like respect and love the guy. He's the reason I'm watching.
Yeah.
But how much can he do?
I actually haven't hated the product, but it could be a lot better. And you're certainly starting to worry with the lack of interest since they have been on TV. This is the lowest point, I think, interest-wise, that people have in the company right now. And that's with just signing Adam Copeland. And that's with MJF, who has been knocking it out of a park. And if he is a free agent, he's doing a hell of a job. So at the end of the day here, Don Callis I would be okay with, but it's going to be a disappointment now, no matter who it is. Now, Don Callis would work because he's such a great heel, he wouldn't care. Like his character is a scumbag. It likes to swerve the fans.
Yeah.
And so that would just get him more heat, and that would be okay. Yeah. Similar to how Paul Heyman, in fact, remember, and we can harken back, Paul Heyman cutting a promo in Chicago.
Yeah.
And he came out and sat down like CM Punk and blamed the Chicago crowd. And that was after everyone thought Punk was going to be there that night. So Don Callis could do something like that. So I wouldn't be.
He's the one that I agree, like that would work.
He's the only one.
Yep.
He is absolutely the only one. Jack Perry, and I want to focus on him. The other ones I don't think have much of a chance. Jack Perry, to me, is the obvious one that it will be. Unless Tony Khan, because you know he loves his internet opinions, unless enough people on the internet say, fuck that. Because here's the reality. Jungle Jack Perry ain't it. He ain't the guy. He is by far the weakest of the four pillars. We know that. Ricky Starks has overtaken him. And I would argue there's been other guys that have been better at what they've done. Christian Cage literally was sent to put that kid over. And who's over now? And who fell into an abyss?
Yep.
Jack Perry, when he turned heel and lost the Christian Cage Luchasaurus thing, was a disaster. An unmitigated disaster, generic bullshit. It made me think that maybe Eric Bischoff is right when he says he's got a thimble full of talent anyway.
Yeah, I love it.
Agreed.
So for me, if it's Jack Perry, that means enough people have gotten in. Tony Khan is 100% loyal to the elite, and the elite have proven they're not ready for prime time just by themselves and their own creative. They're not. I mean, if you don't believe me, look at the great crowd reaction Matt Jackson got for freaking the fuck out. That
was one of the funniest moments that I've seen in a long time on wrestling, personally, because I can't stand the guy, right? So when he goes and hits the ring post with a steel chair, where I'm sure it would vibrate up your arms like no other, especially his, and he goes and does it, and all you can hear is little pin drops throughout the crowd because they're like, wow, this guy doesn't even realize how stupid that action is, even in a fit of anger. You'd be hitting a person. You would be hitting anything but metal at that point. But this idiot who's trying to act like an adult can't even do it for 30 seconds, and he's a EVP. What a disgrace.
That got about as much of a reaction as when the quiet part comes back to Kansas. And when they're literally begging people to sing with them, and they're like,
no, we don't want to do this karaoke.
Can you do Dust in the Wind?
Yes.
All my dreams crumble to the ground, though I refuse to see.
Beautiful. I love it, man.
So that's what it is. And if you do Jack Perry, it's a sign, I think a very, very bad sign. And I honestly don't believe AEW will be in business for another 5 years, at least not on television. I don't think they're going to even make another television deal that's going to be nearly as lucrative right now. Their ratings are down, their gates are down, the interest is down. And I think if Vince McMahon was running WWE, we might be okay with it. But now that Triple H has got that engine running as good as it has run in decades, now the tolerance for bullshit is over. The tolerance for being amateurs is over. The tolerance for all of it. The lack of production, the lack of quality production week in and week out. Even though that's gotten better. That has gotten a lot better, I would say. Since they hired the gentleman, and I forget his name off the top of my head, they hired the guy from WWE. That has gotten a lot better. But this just crazy all over the place storyline, it just, all of it, it's got to go away. And I guess to me, it's not knowing your audience and not realizing, you can pander to the 500,000 to 700,000 people who watch every single week, but you're not going to grow your product. And that's what's been the biggest issue that you have been warning about for years. I didn't think it was quite as dire as maybe you did a year ago. I think it's more dire now.